Hi and welcome. This is Little Wave at Your Stars Within. I just want to do a quick update about the upcoming Mercury retrograde that's starting right now here at the end of May 2021 and will go through June, though we won't be completely out of the shadow period until early July. And I want to talk about, the retrograde's happening at 24 degrees Gemini. So if you know how to look at your chart and pull up your chart, you want to look for any planets or points. Points is in your ascendant or descendant line, MC or IC, those dark lines on the chart. And you want to look at anything around 24 degrees. So maybe as far back as 17, though that starts to get a little wide, and then all the way to the 29 degree of Gemini. Or Sagittarius, the opposite. So if you have planets or points at those degrees of Sagittarius, this retrograde will be oppositing that. Or we look at the squares, the Pisces and Virgo, because this is a mutable retrograde. So if you have anything in that 17 to 29 degree of Pisces or Virgo, it's going to be squaring. The Mercury retrograde will be squaring that planet or point. Okay, so what can you expect? Well, let's go through the dates first. We've been in the shadow period for, maybe 2 weeks now. We're just going into the retrograde. So keep in mind that it goes through the degrees. In this case, from 16 to 24. So it'll go 16, 17, 18, all the way to 24 degrees. And then now it retros. Right now it's stationing and going to retro. So 24, 23, 22. It will go back as far as 16, and then it will go forward again. So it goes forward again at 16 degrees on June 23rd, 2021. But keep in mind that it's still in those degrees until about July 8th. So we're still in the shadow period coming out. So as in all retrogrades, we need to understand this 3-time process is about the incoming energy, kind of what is this about? The retrograde itself is the reflective part where we reassess, realign, reconsider, it's all the re's. And we'll talk about the retrograde in a second. And then we go forward from that degree, and we now kind of put action to what we've come to think about, learn about, and choose now as we come forward. So that's what we want to be thinking about with the retrograde. With Mercury retrograde in particular, it's important to understand that it's about the mental level getting to take a rest. The nervous system gets to calm down. We don't need to be so linear. So everybody always says, oh no, retrograde, like it's scary. This is not about scary or bad. This is about time to do art, poetry, time to meditate, time to go within, to reflect. And we want to allow ourselves the time and the space for those energies to come forward. So you might find that your mind is sluggish and you make errors, you might not be as present. You might misplace things, you might just feel foggy. All of that's because the linear level is asking you to not move forward right now. This is not the time to start things. You can complete things that you've started, but it's really a time to revisit and reflect on different areas of your life. So if you know where 24 degrees Gemini is in your chart, then you know what house it's in. And so the house would indicate what area of your life that you are reflecting on. It's in Gemini, which has duality. So likely in the area of life that you're reflecting on, it has to do with some choices that you might have. And right now, because we haven't gone through the reflective period, you might not think that you're making choices or have choices, but with Gemini, there is that duality. So you might be making a decision you don't even know that you're making, or you don't know that there's other choices available. Or you might be rash in choosing right now. And so this is a time to sit back and reflect on, and then as you go through that process, you should come forward with a sense of what is most in alignment for you and able to choose the proper path for yourself. So let's say that this is in the first house. It might have to do with yourself, your appearance, who you are, how you present yourself. If this is in the second house, you might have some choices around how you make money or how you save or spend money. Third house, maybe cars, maybe something around communication. This is Gemini's natural house. And so you might think about some different forms of communication. The fourth house, home, you might have some choices about either where you live or how you live or what or whom is familiar to you, who is your soul family, and you might need to really resonate and reflect. There might be some people that you think are that may not be, and you might need to spend some time with that. The fifth house might indicate multiple opportunities for dating, fun, romance, things like that, or adventures and activities, and just having to make some choices there. Sixth house could be about a job, what you do day to day. It could be about whom you work with, especially if it's nearing to that seventh house line. Seventh house could be about partnerships. Are you some choices around partnering or the way that you partner? The eighth house, it might have to do, could have to do with money or loans. It could have to do with deeper spirituality or sexuality. You might be making some choices, not just about whom you engage with in that way, but how you engage or what kind of energy you want to bring to that area of your life. The ninth house, you might be choosing around what you want to study or if you want to study or travel. As we get into towards that MC line, career, job, reputation, could also be authority. There could be some shifts or changes or potential possibilities that arise around a new boss or a new job. As we get into 11th house of community, it might be about, you might have some different sets of community, and you might learn some things or need to reflect on what you gain, or maybe you've made some changes or you're in the process of change and different communities feel more or less aligned for you at this point. And then if it's in the 12th house, I'm thinking about, spirituality and how you relate to spirit, and maybe being asked to really choose whether that's going to be a significant part of your world. So the mental level needs to rest, the nervous system needs to rest, and in this process of art, of rest, of reflection, the answers arise. They come through the body wisdom and aha, and I just know it. The other thing that's going to come up within this is that we've been going towards the Saturn-Uranus square, which we had one back in February at 7 degrees in the Aquarius and Taurus signs. And we're moving to the next one, which is at 13 degrees, same sign. Saturn's at 13 degrees of Aquarius, and he's actually gone retrograde recently, May 23rd, and he's going to sit at that 13 degree until he meets with Uranus on June the 15th. And so Uranus is at 11 or 12 degrees and is slowly making his way to this second square that they're going to have together. The third and final one will be in December. And so you can look at if you have any planets or points in the fixed signs around that 13 degree mark. So, maybe 8 through 16, 17. I think 17 is getting a little wide for this kind of square. You'd still be impacted, but not as directly. And so I would look at those degrees around Aquarius, where Saturn is, and Taurus, where Uranus is, and then of course the opposites. The opposite of Aquarius being Leo and the opposite of Taurus being Scorpio. So if you have anything in that, 13 to 17 degrees, or no, I guess 8 to 17, it's a little wide, degrees, especially the closer to 13, the more you're going to feel it. That area of your life has, especially closer to the 13 degree, it's being pressed on. You've probably been feeling some restriction, some frustration, some inability to go forward in this area. And that's because Saturn's already been sitting there and Uranus hasn't made his way there yet. And so we're feeling at a, larger scale level, we might be feeling these pressures of, corporation, patriarchy, tradition. Saturn kind of represents that level, and so we might be feeling a little bit pressed down on. So depending on what planet or point, if it's say Venus, your relationship might be feeling really constricted. If it's your Mercury, you might be feeling like you haven't been able to think well lately. If it's your Mars, maybe your sex drive or your motivation has been really kind of just down and feels like it's up. You just feel like you're against a wall, like you just can't push through it, and there's no logical or identifiable reason. It's just how you're feeling. But when this square comes into play, you know, Uranus is the progression of Saturn. And so he's the maverick, the unexpected, that genius, aha, lightning bolt type of energy. So we're going to break free into something really new and really unexpected, but we're going to feel pressed down on first. And then especially with this retrograde, there's really a sense of needing to go within and really realign, really figure out where have you not been in alignment with your highest being, because, you know, Gemini, the twins, they can let go of hands, they can go in different directions. So all of us are really in a crossroads where we may need to choose. And as the Saturn-Uranus square comes in, it may be time that we start down the roads that we choose, and so it will be the karmic and, you know, future outcomes based on choices we're making now. And we may not understand how big that is. We might think that we're just making a choice about a house or a car or a partner or, you know, friends, or, you know, how we spend our time, but we're actually really making an energetic choice about the road that we're going to follow for quite some time. And so really taking the time in the next few weeks to just spend time in whatever arts speak to you, and not even worry about what am I supposed to be thinking about? What am I supposed to be reflecting on? Don't worry about that. Just spend the time in these reflective, creative places where the mind can do what it needs to do, and the answers shall arise. And so I wish you well with this retrograde. I look forward to this square. I hope that was understandable. If you have questions, please post them. Thanks for watching. Bye.